Hey, welcome to the So Rare Thursday Club and our flagship Thursday show that comes out on a Friday morning. Tonight, I am in the hot seat as your usual host. Swiss Mafia drops out to pack his bags for his hollybobs. In homage to him, though, I am wearing a Swiss top this evening, to keep a little bit of him alive on the show. As always, I am joined by my glamorous co-host, Mr. Dornado, aka the captain of HMS Toffee Blue Nose. Before we get stuck into everything, quick santé to you all. Thanks for watching. If you could like the video while you're here, we would both sleep extra well tonight. But would that be much appreciated? And moving on, how are you today, sir?
I'm good, mate. Just rocking out to that music on the entrance. It just gets me every time. Yeah. It's very like a samba. I feel like I'm playing football in Brazil or something. Do you know what I mean? It's
a bit of samba magic creeping into your bones.
It's good. I love it.
In your LA Rams top. So the main topic of today will be under the radar transfers. We were looking at £50 or less rare players who've already moved this summer and we think might be able to do bits this season coming up. So we have got a list of those to go through each. I will timestamp that below if you just want to skip ahead to that because you don't like the sound of us rambling on beforehand. But yeah, that is the main event today. Before then, we will have a quick whistle-stop tour of So Rare news since we last spoke to you on Tuesday. And I think there's probably two... Oh, hang on. Unblock my camera. Two technical difficulties. Two news stories. I guess there hasn't been a lot of news since Tuesday because it's only 2 days ago. But we did have the K-League coverage update and new game week deadline news. Didn't read it came out this morning. If you haven't seen this, it's a grovelling apology from So Rare about the continued shambles that comes with the K-League. But they do offer some explanation here, which I suppose, we like that bit of transparency and we like to know what's actually going on. They talk about problems with the current provider, which leads to those 48-hour delays and missing the occasional ones off and trying to find a solution, not being able to find a new supplier, They'll continue with the old one. They do have a lead for a new one that they hope works out. So they're going to test it. And hopefully this new supplier will cover all the games immediately and everyone will be happy. Or we might have to carry on with the way things are. But it's quite nice to hear, what's going on and then to explain the difficulties and what they're trying to do. Any thoughts?
I mean, what can they do, really? They've given us good communication about it, I guess. Like, we've had lots of updates about how it's going and, the fact games wouldn't be covered and, what they can't control the fact that Opta obviously can't provide them the stats. What they can control is who they get their stats from. So I'd like to think they're looking into that a little bit moving forward. I'd imagine they've signed some sort of multi-year deal with them. And I think if anything, we've been doing this for 3 years now. Opta really need a strong competitor because they are slipping up a lot. I'm not sure Jesse Vitz's Flopta is going to be giving him much competition after his scoring the other day. But it's interesting, isn't it? But it's not exactly a new problem, is it? We know the K-League's had an issue. And if you're still playing K-League cards 6 weeks down the line or however long it's been since it started, then you kind of need to really think about what your game plan is as a So Rare manager. Like, I know a lot of people have K-League cards already, but you need to diversify.
Weirdly enough, I have picked up a few K-League rare cards. It got to the point where I thought it was a decent opportunity to actually get a couple of the guys because really high scoring potential.
It is, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. Like, it's been a good opportunity. Like, you're in the luxury of being able to sort of pick them up and hold them, aren't you? But like, if you're sort of a small gallery that's relying on them for your Cap 240 rare, I doubt you're putting any of these K-League cards in your ETH grinding teams, or it's just too risky. And it's just frustrating for a lot of people, isn't it? But
I suppose you can play if your team plays early in the game week, it's a bit safer to play the cards. But there is some decent opportunities price-wise to get some really good scorers in if you back Sorare to eventually solve the problem. You know, maybe you pick up some cheap players at the start of next season. Everything's rosy with this new data provider. You know, they say they're working with the K-League themselves. Lots of suppliers trying to find a suitable solution. I think that they want a suitable solution, don't they? They don't want it to be like this. So
exactly, yeah. It's not like they're choosing to do this.
Yeah, so I think they might get there, but yeah.
Have they ever actually said what the problem is? Like, obviously they're not covering the games, but like, is it because like they've lost loads of employees in Korea or something, like, or like they've never actually officially said what the issue is, have they? I don't know.
No, it's just a problem. It's just the supplier, the data
supplier. Almost just need Opta to come out and say something, really. But
yeah,
that's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah, but there we go. The other part of this release is a new temporary game week deadline. While they're in the testing phase with this new company, we're exceptionally moving game week deadlines to increase the likelihood of having full coverage K-League 1 games that fall too close to a game week closing. We will temporarily move game week deadlines from 16 CET to 12 CET until Champion Europe returns on August the 11th. So we've got just over a month of game week switch-ups to try and get maximum chance for these K-League games to get scored. So starting from Tuesday the 11th to game week 396. So yeah, quite a handful of game weeks there. They'll open at 12 p.m. CT, which I think is 10 a.m. in.
I think it's 11 a.m. It's 11 a.m. I think it's back to the normal what it used to be when we first started. 11 a.m.
Ah, there we go then.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it might be a temporary solution while they work with this to get more games in and allow for more coverage. Some people like it. Some people are moaning that it's changed and it's early now. But we're all aware of what the game. We're all aware of what the game weeks are in advance now. We've got 5 days until it comes out. So, you know, someone's bound to forget and complain, but they have given us notice. And if it helps utility, I'm always on the side of more utility.
It's going to feel a bit more rush, isn't it, on a Friday? Because it's kind of nice having that sort of almost the most of the day to get it done before 3 p.m. now. But then there's also the caveat that there's less teams to do now because Europe's not playing. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue changing to 11. And like you said, if it increases the chances of a K-League game late in the previous game week instead going on to be early in the next game week, then that makes sense, doesn't it?
Okay, quick question for you. Which time for a deadline game week lock do you prefer, 11 or 3? 11 a.m. or 3 p.m.?
I mean, when is Europe, it has to be 3 p.m. So
just overall, just one answer. You're going 3 p.m.
3 p.m. 3 p.m.
Okay, there you go. That allowed me.
What's your answer?
You know what? I think it's 11 a.m. because just get it done. Otherwise, I just fuck around thinking about it all day. Delay. Just get it out of my way and let me get on with my work day. Because then I'll be done by 11 and I'll have to get on with my work.
That's true. That would be like 4 hours less stress every Friday, wouldn't it? I guess.
Yeah. So that would be my pick. That has allowed me time to seamlessly change my tab to the second talking point, which is the La Liga Summer Tour VIP experience. So this is essentially a competition to fly with the Real Betis team and staff to Mexico and San Francisco, stay in the hotel with them, attend all the matches on their summer tour, which are in here, go on the pitch during warm-ups, 10 team training sessions, and sit with the press during post-match press conferences. 10 finalists, the 9 people that lose get some tickets to a La Liga match. And to enter, you have to fill out an application form specifying why you should be selected. The top 10 entries will advance to a finalist interview round with a winner determined by July the 18th. So that is a massive prize.
That is a massive prize. I hadn't read that you have to actually go through like an interview process for it, which is a bit extreme. But
yeah, I think many people have always championed more experiences, right? More giveaways, more real life experiences is what sets this out from other games. And this is certainly that. It is an unbelievable prize if you were to win it. And you were able to get the time off work, I guess. You know, it'd be incredible, once in a lifetime, be really cool. You know, I'm not going to be able to win it though, am I? I'm not going to be able to convince someone that I should go on a Real Betis tour.
I don't know. You could be quite a convincing chap. You know.
Yeah, I could tell him that
you managed to convince Jesse to give you 100 score on Tuesday somehow.
That was our FC Sorare side. I made about 147 saves and got an assist from in goal. That's 100. That's 100 as a goalie. But yes, I once put a bid on Nabil Fekir. Didn't win it, but you know, that's about as far as I can go.
That's true.
So I probably won't be entering unless I ask ChatGPT to come up with a convincing entry for me. But I love the competition. You know, I'd love to see something for Man United, Bristol City, who aren't even on Sorare, so that won't happen. Or Consadole. Give me Consadole. I'll be straight in there. San Jose Earthquakes. Maybe even a bit of Hertha Berlin. But, you know, it's a nice, eye-catching prize and competition. What do you think?
I mean, it's insane, isn't it? What a prize! Like, if you're a Betis fan, say, like, if that came out and it was Everton, like, I know I sort of pretend to support the Columbus Crew, but if that was Everton, like, oh my god, that would be absolutely insane. And it's not like their friendlies are in like Bolton; they're in flipping Mexico and
San Francisco.
San Francisco. It's just an insane prize. It almost could be like split up into like 5 or 6 prizes. It's so good. But yeah, I mean, if you're a Betis fan, you're all over that, right? And even if you're just a general football fan, that's an amazing prize. I certainly won't be getting the time off from work or the time off from parenting, so I won't be applying. But yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Yes, eye-catching. You see Sevilla play twice. You see Atletico Madrid and Real Sociedad. You know, the 9 runners-up prizes, tickets to La Liga game, are not to be sniffed at as well. Even though that's not going to come with transport and hotels, so it's not exactly a cheap prize to win. But yeah, I love it. More stuff like this, more mystery shirts, more hats, more giveaways. I'm all for it, even though I've got no chance of winning that one.
And that is really, like you mentioned as well, that is really what sets Sorare apart. And they've been quite good at it so far, but I feel like it's only getting more and more, isn't it? They've done quite a few things in the last sort of 9 months. I know they did a Dortmund fan visit, didn't they? They did another thing where some fans attended a training session, I think, for, I can't remember which team that was. But like, there's loads of stuff. There's obviously, you know, you won your tickets to go to watch Man United, and you know, it wasn't directly through a Sorare thing, but it probably was via Sorare in a way, via the
sponsored
FPL.
by Sorare, yeah,
sponsored by Sorare. And like, this is really what will bring people over to the game, is physical prizes that are like you can have. Like, it's cool. You know, I've got
agreed.
a shirt. That's bloody cool.
Exactly. Yeah, love it. And yeah, I think that's it for a quick roundup. The only other big news today is that Threads has been released, the new social media, and whether we need to get Sorare Thursday Club over to there quickly, you know, get in early, appeal to the crowd.
Before someone nicks the handle and tries to sell it to us for a couple of grand.
Oh shit, yeah. Now I feel the pressure to do it before this video goes out in the morning. Elon versus Zuckerberg. It's all on now. I'll go wherever the Sorare community is.
Damn right.
Sorare forever.
Burger Club for life.
You're damn right. Viva the Burger Club. All right, that will do for a little ramble, as Swiss Mafia would call it. Let's get on to the main event. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event. Tonight, we are talking about under radar transfers. We were looking at rare players worth £50 or less that have already made a move to a new club this summer and could be a little bit litty next season. I have even printed out my research today, about 3 lines on each player, which is more than I've ever done before. So ready to go. Are you ready, sir? I believe you have 11 and I have 10. So I think that means you are first up.
I am ready. I haven't printed anything out as I'm not a print guy like yourself. But yeah, I've got a little list together, and yeah, I will kick us off. And I'm going to start us with actually probably my best pick of my 11. I'd say you'll be proud of me because I have only picked one player that I own, but it does happen to be this player.
Does he play for Everton? No,
he doesn't play for Everton. So why is that not showing? 2 seconds. Sorry. So I've gone for Joris Kayembe. You may or may not have heard of him, Rick. I own one of his rare midfielder cards from Charleroi. He has joined Genk on a free. I think his contract ran down for Charleroi, and he refused to sign a new one. So yeah, he's gone to Genk. Always nice to have a part of Genk. Genk are a very good team, as we all know. He's a sort of attacking fullback. Played a lot of wing back for Charleroi. Sometimes played in midfield, but he does have defender and midfielder cards, and you can pick him up for as little as £45 at the moment, which I think is very good value. He's only 28 as well, which is good. But if you look at his scores here, historically, there's a lot of green going on there. Now, obviously, what you do have a little bit when a player joins a better team from a worse team is he going to play every game? Obviously, Genk have a lot bigger squad, a much better team. But if he does sort of nail down a position in either wing-back role or potentially in midfield for them, if they do choose to play sort of a wing-back situation, then you could be hitting some seriously good scores with him. And I think it's quite nice having that option of a midfielder or a defender card. They're about the same price. So yeah, I think he's an absolute steal, to be honest. I mean, I personally bought his midfielder card for about £200 a couple of years ago. So you know, he's definitely got that higher end value if he can start and play a lot. He's my first pick.
First pick. All right. Very nice. Yeah, I don't mind that one at all. Some very nice historical scores in there. You always like to see it. All right, we'll switch over to me. Pick number 1 with my SorareData that I actually pay for, so you can see all of the backdated information.
Probably should have done that for this, shouldn't I, actually, in hindsight?
Okay, first one going on for me. Bristol member Bren would love to see this. Blackburn Rovers have signed Sondre Tronstad from Betis in Holland. Here is the big guy. He is a player I owned right at the start of my Sorare journey. And he was really reliable for me, really churned out solid scores. And, you know, always did the job for me. So I did have a bit of a soft spot for him when I saw he moved over to England. 0.0264 is the current floor, which is £39. I think is very reasonable for someone who you're going to get 46 games of utility out of in the Championship. He was a regular for Betis, he always has been, but he did, you know, finish up at a time on the bench at the end of last season. I don't know whether that was bad form, fell out with the coach and they knew he was going to leave. But historically, he's always been pretty good, pretty reliable, pretty banking. You could bank on him starting. I think he's already been in England before. I think he played for Huddersfield at some point. I thought I saw Blackburn say something about he played with John Stead before. So I think that was at Huddersfield. So yeah, hopefully this fresh start will do him good. You know, he looks like the type, seems to have the attributes that's good for a long, hard battle over 46 games in the Championship. He's had European, you know, exposure. And and has got some very good previous green scores in his. So yeah, Betis are a good team who were on the up last season, and I think he'll do very well at Blackburn. Hopefully, for our friend Bren's sake, he does very well at Blackburn. Still a good age, still a lot left in the tank. Yeah, and I'm excited to see him come to Ashton Gate. So he's my first pick, Sondre Tronstad, the midfielder.
So did you say that Tronstead played with John Stead? Because if you did, that's pretty impressive.
I like what he's done there.
Yeah, that's
Tronstead
good.
Instead.
John Stead and Tronstead. Okay, yeah. So nice pick. I like it. And as you mentioned, always nice to have the championship players because their utility is insane. Midweeks all over the place. Like it's always nice to get that extra bit of value out of your players. Okay, so that sort of seamlessly, it's almost like we planned this, but we didn't. But that seamlessly goes on to my next pick, which is also a Blackburn player. I've gone for I've gone for Arne Sigurdsson. Some sort of OG Sorare faithfuls may remember him. He was at CSK Moscow, which was one of the first teams that was on the game. I think I might have actually owned him like really, really long time ago. Can't remember, but he's come. I think he's potentially on loan from. I think he's on loan from CSK. I think he's been repeatedly loaned out the last few years since the war has begun. He was on loan in. I searched it earlier. He was on loan at somewhere in Denmark, I think, or Norway last season, and he got 6 goals in 12 games. Pretty solid. He's a very good player. He's still young, although it feels like he's been around for quite a long time. Still only 24, and Blackburn do seem to be making some moves. This summer. Moves. They were close to sort of making the playoffs. I think last season, weren't they? They just fell short in the end.
Yeah, they did put some decent performances. Yeah, but just a bit unreliable.
Yeah, and I know Blackburn in general they've got rid of Brereton Diaz, haven't they? So he's been a bit of a talisman.
Bradley Dack's gone as well.
Yeah, well, Dack's kind of not been that good, but yeah. So there's a bit of a restructuring on over there, but I feel like they could be a good team this year. A good sort of team to target, and yeah, you can pick them up for around 30 to 40 quid at the moment, which I think is good value for once again somebody who's going to be having a lot of games next season.
Like it.
Perfect.
Right. Was this the guy you said first? Joris Kayembe?
Yeah, Joris Kayembe. Yeah, well done, mate.
So I'm going to put these all on this watch list that is public. If any of you feel the need to rely on our suggestions, they'll all be on SorareData, £50 or less summer transfers. My second pick is, you always do one when we do these things, and you always do one and you go, fucking hell, I better buy him before I say it. I really like
definitely.
Him. I hadn't heard of this guy before. I was looking through transfers, reading through, like completed transfers deals, and I came across this guy. His name is David Herold. So I learned about him today, did a bit of research into him, and turns out I'm now a massive fan. £24 he costs at the moment. He is on loan from Bayern to Karlsruhe SC in 2 Bundesliga. If you're going to punt on a young player, I guess punt on a Bayern Munich player is as good a place to start as anyone else. He was on loan in Austria last year at Altash. I think Altash got relegated, right? They were pretty crap from what I remember. But he did basically play every single minute that was available at Altash. You can see here, left back, left wing back, left mid. He was racking up the starts, racking up the games for a team that was playing pretty horribly, which makes it very hard to score well when you're in a team that's at the bottom getting dicked. But he showed lots of good signs. He signed an extension with Bayern as well till 2026, which makes you feel, they see something in him if they're going to give him an extension. So there's obviously some plans for him there. So I think he makes a good short-term investment as well as, having those possible long-term gains as well. Young as fuck, under 23 till 2027. Superbly cheap. His last sale was £2.62 at limited. £24 he is at rare for someone that, Bundesliga 2, Austria top division. I'd guess they're fairly similar. Another season of, experience. I think, a really good, cheap, young Bayern Munich prospect to take on. I like playing the Division 2 teams as well. So, he's someone I'm really interested in, and I'm going to pick up before this video goes out tomorrow, I think. Number 2 for me, David Herold.
Nice.
Very German name of David.
I like it.
So let's switch back to you.
Okay, so, there we go. I've got them on screen. So my next pick is Andre Duda. Someone a few people may remember. He played for Norwich.
Hertha Berlin.
He played for Hertha Berlin. There we go. He played for Huddersfield as well. He's been around the houses a little bit in the last few years. He is coming back with a cruise ship knee injury, so obviously that is a major worry. But Hellas Verona, and it's also I'd like to point out this is a bit of a cheat in terms of a new transfer. He was on loan at Hellas Verona last year from FC Cologne, but Verona have decided
transfer.
There we go. They've decided to purchase him. So I can't imagine that his knee injury is too bad, and it does say that it's expected to be back this month. So. Yeah. Anyway, he's a good player. I've seen him play a little bit. I think back when I was watching, I guess Huddersfield would be in the Premier League, maybe Norwich when he was playing. But he takes a lot of set pieces. He's a set piece midfielder, penalty taker, corner taker. Verona just about stayed up in Serie A last season. So they're not necessarily going to be that great a team next year, but you'd like to think he's going to be a banker to start. He's cheap as £32 at the moment, which I think is really cheap for somebody who does take set pieces. So even if he's not getting a strong AA game for a not very good team, you'd like to think he's going to be playing quite a major part in decisives when they do score. He also plays for the national team, Slovakia as well. He's got historical, decent-ish scores. So I think obviously, we'd love to be seeing full green across the board with a lot of these things, but for less than £50, you're very unlikely to get that. We're sort of looking at players that can be peaky, players you can plug into your Cap 240 rare teams for low value that can have that potential to get that high score. And I feel like he could definitely be one of those people.
Okay. Yeah, I was a big fan of him back at Hertha. He was very important for a while. Saw a bit of him at Norwich as well. So let's hope he recovers from that injury. It's probably what's keeping his price nice and low.
Yeah.
All right, back to me. If you thought I was going to go through this, missing an opportunity to bring up a Bristol City player, you were absolutely wrong. So we are back into the Championship. Third dip into the Championship already. I am picking Ross McCrory, who is joining me at Ashton Gate this year. We all love that 46-game Championship utility we've already mentioned. He's come down from Aberdeen, down to the southwest of England. I think he's played at fullback, played a bit of midfield as well. So it will be interesting to see how he's used at Bristol City. Nigel Pearson has been his usual grumpy fuck self during pre-season and not really given anything away, saying it all on merit. I don't care about last season. I hate everyone, blah, 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 as usual. So I think he's probably in a battle with Tanner at right back. But he could also cover in that midfield area. We did have a lot of old bodies in there last year. We've let Masengo go. We had Matty James and Andy King in there last year for a lot of the time. So he might, use his engine in the middle instead. But I think he's going to, once he's settled in, I think he's going to get a lot of game time in the Championship. And he's currently £21 to get that 46-game utility in. So I'm looking forward to seeing him at Ashton Gate. I hope he adapts well to the rigours of the Championship. But I think that's a really good price pickup.
That is very cheap.
Yeah.
A little bit of extra knowledge actually from me about Ross McCurry. Well, it's not really extra knowledge, but a friend of mine who you know, Craig, he is an Aberdeen fan as well as a Bristol City fan. He's from Aberdeen originally, and his uncle used to play for Aberdeen, so he's very much got his ear to the ground in terms of Aberdeen. And he says Ross McCurry is a very, very good player, and you've got an absolute bargain getting him. So
yeah, I mean, we paid up, which makes me think, we must have good plans for him. It's just with Pearson, it's hard to tell where exactly he's going to play him.
Yeah, and it's also very difficult to tell if he actually likes anything, because he's like getting blood out of a stone with that guy.
Yeah, he could suck all the fun out of a situation in a swift minute. He is a fun sponge. Would be what I define him as. Let's say he's been in the Scotland squad for the last 2 games as well. Didn't play, but in the squad. Yeah. So yeah, pick number 3 for me is Rossi Mack. Back over to you, young sir.
I like it. Okay, so you know how I said about 10 minutes ago that I managed to only pick one player that I owned? I actually lied because I forgot that I also picked Hamari Traore. I do own his limited, so it's slightly different, and I did win it very recently, so I'd forgotten that I owned him. But yeah, I've picked Hamari Traore. So he has just left Rennes and gone to Real Sociedad. He was the Rennes captain, I believe. Very solid player. Kind of surprised to let him go, to be honest. Real Sociedad had always been like a fun team to sort of follow in Spain. They do seem to end up always getting some really good players over the years. I don't know why. I don't know how they managed to do it, but yeah, he's a right fullback for he's going to be for Sociedad, and he's very, very good scorer. So if you look here, there's a lot of green going on there, and he's available for less than 50 quid, which I was actually amazed by. He was a lot higher price when he was at Rennes. So, and you'd like to think Sociedad are a sort of similar standard in their league if you compare Rennes in the French league as well. So if you can maintain those type of scores in Sociedad as well, I can't see why he couldn't be £100 player, to be perfectly honest with you.
He's got some really, really peaky scores on there, isn't he? 86s, 99s, which is what you're looking at for that.
He seems to have quite a few assists in his time at Rennes. But yeah, solid player. Yeah,
decent all-around game there. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, damn right.
Okay, me again. You done?
I'm done.
That's everything. That is everything for Traore. Excellent. All right, Traore on the list. Next up for me, I have just picked a player that went from Aberdeen down to the southwest of England, and now I'm picking a player that is going to Aberdeen. 1 in, 1 out at Pittodrie. I think he's called Nicholas, isn't he? So it is Nicholas Devlin. There we are. Oh, Nicky D. Nicholas Devlin. So Livingston to Aberdeen. He was the Livingston captain, I believe, before making the move to Pittodrie in a not so well kept secret transfer. He is a really reliable starter, really solid, if unspectacular scorer. I won his limited a while ago and got rid of it, I think, but that's how I still own it apparently. 10 of 1,000. There you go. I own a Nicholas Devlin limited. Really solid cap type player he struck me as when I've used him. But I'm hoping here that the step up to Aberdeen, can push his SO5 scores, up to the next level slightly and push him up from that solid guaranteed starter to someone who can give you a bit more peaky scores. You can see here he does get some dark greens, but his cap scores are kind of low, all in the yellow. So he's kind of a cap player. So I'm hoping this move to Aberdeen can, give him that extra bit of va-va-voom that he needs. Because he does get a little bit of AA here, but I'm guessing, Livingston isn't the type of team where you expect peak scores from people. So I'm hoping this change does that job. I think he's very likely to get a lot of starts at Aberdeen. And yeah, I got high hopes for him to push on next season. So really like that price. His last sale was £35. There doesn't seem to be too many cards of him on the market at the moment. Only 107 total anyway. But yeah, Nicky Devlin. That's me.
I like it. The problem with doing these types of things is I end up just liking everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't have any ETH. I literally spent all my ETH today on 2 rare legend cards. And I hate not having even an ounce of ETH in my balance because I like to make that last minute little purchase if I need one, and I actually have no options with ETH.
I actually had a big transfer today. If I take a little segue break from our, I sold my Dominic Berardi, who I won as a prize not that long ago. I let him go for 0.43 today.
That is smoking. Was that a tier 1 or a tier 2?
He was a tier. I can't remember now.
Maybe it was a tier 1, but it was a very good win as a tier 1, wasn't it? It was like
yeah. Obviously, he's an incredibly good scorer. A lot of the rumors are he's going to Juventus, and I'm just not sure if he'll be the main man there to keep up those scores. For me, that's a lot of ETH and a large chunk of gallery space, and I'd like to reinvest it in a few more of the targets I have for next year. So I want to get rid of somewhere big. So yeah, my big transfer news today is Berardi is gone.
That's
gone. But
that's big news. That's big news.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the game. Pick number 5 for you.
Pick number 5, yeah, I think so. Flying, aren't we? So I've gone for Robin Hack. He is a left winger, I believe. He's was at Paderborn last season in the 2nd division in Germany. He was one of their best players. Paderborn, I don't think were particularly good. He has made that step up now to Borussia Mönchengladbach, who are historically a very good team in Germany. They've seemed to blood a lot of really good players there. They have had a bit of a summer rebuild at Mönchengladbach, so they've got rid of Hoffman. Who else they got? They got Benzibaini. Thuram has left as well. So there is a big change going on there. So, maybe they'll struggle, or maybe this will be the opportunity for, other players they've got on their books to step up, including Robin Hack, who's new to the team. So, yeah, I think he's a solid player. He's costing around £45. He's got hair like pot noodles as well, which is always nice, I find. But yeah, so you're looking at a couple of years ago. He was like a sub, so he was young. He wasn't really doing much. Last year, he had a bit of breakthrough, I think, for Paderborn. A lot of peaky scores once again. Quite a few greens there. But yeah, I think he's someone just worth a punt, I'd say. It might be a struggle for him to make that step up into the Bundesliga. You don't know, but he is going to be playing for a better team. So you'd like to think his scores will be better.
Yeah, he's a very interesting one, actually, Robin. I own his limited. I bought him to use in my 2nd division limited stack last year. I didn't realize he'd gone. That's the first I've heard of that transfer.
Well, there we go. You're learning new things. Learning new things on your own pod.
I think he's a very good player. He just struggled for consistency, I think. I'm talking from an SO5 point of view.
Yeah.
His scores were very up and down. It's very hard to rely on him. But yeah, seems to be a very good player. And did not know that he now plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. So
there you go. And also, did you know that? I know there'd been rumours of Hoffman leaving, but I didn't see it had been confirmed so quickly.
Where's he gone?
It's gone to Leverkusen.
Along with Xhaka. Xhaka went there today as well, didn't he?
Don't you own Hoffman?
I sold it.
Oh, you sold him. But he's a bloody good player. So obviously there's going to be space in their team for a few players to come in and try and take effect. So yeah, hopefully it'll be Robin Hack. There we go.
I know we're talking about rares for this under £50, but if you're looking at the limited column on some of these players we're throwing up as well, if you're a limited player, some of these are absolute peanuts at the limited level, 0.0012. Solid chance to pick up a limited team of these as well, if that's more your thing.
Yeah, definitely.
My next player is someone that got stabbed in a supermarket.
I know who this is. That's how much I follow football. Is I know who got stabbed in the supermarket.
someone that made the gossip, the like Daily Mail rather than the back pages of Sky Sports.
Yeah. He was part of the there was like wasn't it a terrorist attack or something? And he tried to help or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but
I can't remember. I think there was 10 people that
yeah,
got injured. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I just remember the story, and that it was this guy involved. It is Pablo Mari. If you didn't know, he's had to come back from a horror injury where he was stabbed in a Milan supermarket. Back playing now. Fortunately, everything was okay, and he now plays for Monza in Serie A after completing a permanent transfer from Arsenal. Again, like you said earlier on, a little bit of a cheap one because he was at Monza last year and has now gone there permanently. Monza were about a mid-table team, I think, last year in Serie A, and he's still managed to put up some really, really nice scores, as you can see here. So being in Serie A last year, being at the same team, can help settle any concerns you might have about adapting to the league or, needing time to settle, because he's already been there and he's already done that. He was nailed for them last year, as you can see here. 90, 90, 90, 99, playing 90 minutes everywhere. And he's put up some tasty big AA scores along the way. Monza is not the first team you think of when you're thinking of good teams in Serie A, but he's got 37s, 23, 25, 35, showing the ability to pick up really big AA for a centre-back in a team that doesn't keep a lot of clean sheets. So, yeah, really impressed me there. Price point. It's only 48 cards of him in rare. The lowest one, the last sale was, the average, last public sale was 32. Slightly up, the lowest on the market now, but you can definitely get hold of him for under 50. £2 in yellow. Overall, yeah, I just really like that. The problem, I guess, would be, where do you see Monza going?
I think Monza did quite well, I think, last year in the end. I remember, for some reason, a fact that they did a double over Juventus for the first time in their history or something.
Yeah, I think they came about 11th, but
yeah,
the question would be, whether do you see them improving? So they beat Juventus 2-0. But he has shown that he can put up good scores there regardless anyway. His AA is good. So yeah, he's a really interesting card. So
good looking lad as well, isn't he? He's a good looking lad.
Yeah, he is. He's not bad, I suppose. He's not bad, I suppose.
Swine.
All right. Back to you.
It's like, genuinely, we haven't planned this, but the next person on my list is also a Monza player. So it says he plays for Torino here. I'm pretty sure he plays for Monza. I've gone for Armando Izzo. He was on loan at Monza last year from Torino. I think that's what it was. And they have once again decided to purchase him on a full transfer. So once again, a bit of a cheat, like we've done a few times in this show so far. But he's a very solid player. You look at his last 5, last 15, and last 40. They're all really solid. You can occasionally get players that have like really high in one of these and then really low in others, which shows a bit more peaky. But he's a very solid player. A lot of dark greens there. He seems to be quite a utility man as well. So he can play left centre, right centre. He can play right back, I think, as well. He can play as part of a 3. Once again, are Monza going to be that good next season? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we talk about AA a lot in this game. You look at, if you exclude that last game where they got smashed 5-2 by Atlanta, you look at his AA here, like his 4 games prior to that, 41, 28, 20, 23, a -12. So obviously that's not ideal. But a 47 there, like he clearly is a very strong AA game. And he's not getting any younger, but he's only 31. And I'm pretty sure he's played for Italy before, because I recognise his name quite a bit. But yeah, it's £20 at the moment. We're looking at Pablo Mari as well, who is also cheap, but I think you were saying his limited was £2 and his rare was 40. Yeah. So if you just look at this guy, like his limited's £3 and his rare is £20. So like there's something not quite right there with his correlation. Like I think his rare is really undervalued. And there's only 38 cards of him in rare, so that's probably why the average isn't maybe quite as accurate as it could be. But yeah, I think he's an absolute bargain, and once again a good-looking lad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a bargain.
So if we were running a Love Island contest with our players, we'd be doing all right.
Just send them all to Monza, innit?
Okay. H to the Izzo. That was pick number 6 for you. So pick number 6 for me is, let me get to the right tab. There we go. Another one I found out about today. Arthur Zagri. That guy. Man like Arthur. Arthur Zagri. Here we go. He has moved from Monaco to Excelsior on a permanent transfer. 21 quid was the last public sale. The current floor is a little bit higher. Doesn't look to be too much activity in the rare market of his cards. 2 quid for a limited. He has previously been at PSG, I think, Utrecht, Dijon, played for the France under 18s, France under 19s, really highly rated wonder kid style player previously. Again, played for Excelsior last season on loan, knows the team well, knows the league well before his permanent transfer there. Like we said with other players, just gives that bit of extra confidence when they go there. You know that they've already done the business there. He finished last season putting up some decent AA there. 36, 17, 32, showed the ability to pump you out a solid game, playing at left fullback. It looks like he got a little injury here to end the season. But yeah, big name that's had a lot of talent, a lot of praise and talent attached to him in the past. Everyone loves a wonder kid. Under 23 till 2026. So, long-term under 23 eligibility sort of gives you that safety net when you purchase someone, of that extra value you get of them being under 23. It gives them longer, to prove their point. So Arthur Zagra is my pick number 6. Really exciting young player that'll be playing Excelsior again next year.
Nice. And like you said, it's quite rare to find a good young player in this list, really, because of the price cap that we've set ourselves. So yeah. I think that's a solid player, and he looks like he'd be good at football as well. So that probably means a lot.
Yeah. The other thing that I forgot to point out, he has forward cards as well. His Utrecht cards are forward.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what you want him as. Let me see if I can put up his. Does he have forward scores?
Not particularly. Yeah.
Yeah, so you probably want the defender card, actually. Although forward cards are always intriguing because they're harder to, get hold of. Generally more expensive, but he does look to be a bit more peaky as a defender. But yeah, that is an interesting tad bit that he does have Utrecht forward cards as well.
Nice.
We move.
So, bit of an OG of the game I've gone for here. So I've gone for Florian Thauvin, or however you say his name. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, something like that.
Thauvin. Yeah, I mean, kind of a big name, I like to think. He's kind of been around a little bit. He was at Newcastle briefly, kind of failed at Newcastle, but I think most players were failing at Newcastle at that time. Was at Marseille, and then he went to Tigres, didn't he? I think in Mexico. Had a little stint over there. I think it went reasonably okay. I think he had a few injuries, but he went on loan to Udinese, I believe, last season. Had a couple of injuries again. Didn't really play much for part for Udinese last year. He's got a few sub appearances, as you can see here. But yeah, he's 17 quid at the moment, which just seems insanely cheap. I had a little look on Twitter already. He's getting linked with a few moves away. So Udinese have officially signed him this summer from their loan. So it's technically a new transfer, but I think by the looks of it, they're looking to immediately sell him. Cash Cash in, yeah. So I think there seems to be some French teams linked to him. Obviously, he's French, so it makes sense for him to sort of go back to where he used to play when he was younger. But yeah, I think Toulouse are potentially getting linked with him. I don't think he's getting linked with Marseille, but he's historically a very good player. Like, he's got good scores back here. If you look, he's still only 30 years old.
He's not finished.
He's not finished. He's had a few major-ish injuries that have been sort of quite a few weeks out. So you maybe question his injury record a little bit, but I think at 15 to 20 quid, like, you can't go wrong. That value is just insane. And there's plenty of cards of him about 158. He's got Marseille cards. He's got Udinese cards. They're everywhere. But I think he's good value, and he has that name as well. So if he was to just have a very small, like 2 or 3 game run of some green scores, you could probably at least double your price on him, if not triple. But yeah, I think he's good value. Someone I was surprised to see on there when I was researching.
All right, Florian, welcome to the watch list. Okay, I move into my last 4 picks, and like my train of thought, as those double whiskeys start to hit home, my picks of also getting a bit more reachy, let's say. So my next one is a player that's moved from Korea to the Premier League, and it is Kim Ji-soo. Kim Ji-soo.
Is he the one that's joined Brentford, is he?
He is the one that's joined Brentford from Sungnam. About 50 quid is his lowest price at the moment. That was lower when I actually looked a few days ago, but he's now 52, which is technically breaking our rules. But what you should always do is make a lower offer. Don't take the price, make a lower offer, get it under £50, and then you break nothing. So yeah, I'm going to admit that this one is slightly punty because he's unlikely to be getting much first team football this season, which is generally the point of this show. But I'd never heard of him before this transfer window as well, which that should add some confidence to you. So it's a big move for him to make, and a big transition from a team that's now in K-League 2 to a Premier League side. So, I wouldn't expect him to be lining up in Brentford's first game of the season. However, he did have a solid run in the Sungnam team towards the end of the last calendar year down here. Racked up lots of minutes. Looked like this is the point where he got injured and was then out of the team for the rest of the season. But he has shown the ability at a very young age to put up some decent scores and handle, what was then top division football in Korea. He's under 23 till 2029. Jesus. Which seems like an absurdly long time. So he seems like a really solid long-term investment rather than one that you're hoping that pays off in, the next 3 months. It's an intriguing play. He's probably going to be lining up with David Beckham's kids in the Brentford 2 team for a while. But what caught my eye was that Bayern Munich were actually interested in him as well. And we're trying to make a play for him as well. So Brentford have done well to get in there and secure him. So yeah, bucking the trend here of not someone that I think will be really good in the short term, but it's more of a long-term play. Kim Ji-soo.
I mean, that is a lesser spotted journey of a footballer going from Seongnam K-League 2 to Brentford in the Premier League. That is about as random as you can get.
Soon to be seen on Romeo Beckham's threads, no doubt.
Yeah, damn right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about him. So fair dues. He's obviously was a very highly touted young player, and he just got a bad injury. So yeah, good shout, mate. Good shout.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate the praise. On to you.
So I've once again cheated a little bit. I'm sorry. I keep cheating.
Again, what's this? 3rd or 4th time?
Yeah, a little bit. So this guy doesn't technically have a team at the moment. So, he's not a new transfer. I guess he could be say he's a new transfer to free agency. However, he's definitely going to find a team in the next month, and I think he's a very good price at the moment. So I've gone for Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Is he free transfer, is he?
Yeah, he's free transfer, mate. So
he was Bristol City?
Well, this is the thing. I think he could quite easily join a championship, like a good championship team, if not a Premier League team, to be honest. Like he was at Southampton last year. Obviously, don't want to look at his scores too much because Southampton were woeful last season.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that they finished below Everton shows just how bad they are. But yeah, so try and ignore those scores if you can. You know, he does have the capability to put some really good AA. He's very much a utility man. He's played right back a fair bit in the last couple of years, but I think he sort of burst onto the scene as a midfielder, really, or even an attacking midfielder. So for Arsenal. But yeah, I can see him definitely. There's a lot of transfer rumours about, so get yourselves on Twitter and search his name because he's getting linked to a lot of teams. And if you are to hit that jackpot of him going to a championship team and all that utility, then at £29, I think you've got yourself an absolute bargain. He's got a very low cap and will have a low cap for quite a while due to all his really poor scores for Southampton. So he's a very good player, I think, to get in for a cap 240 rare team at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's a really decent free agent who's going to end up somewhere useful.
And at the end of the day, what I was going to say as well, like these players that are European free agents right now, like effectively every single, in terms of SO5 scores, every European player is a free agent right now because none of them are playing for the next 6 weeks anyway. So it's not going to affect anything right now. Like if he's obviously still a free agent come mid-August, then you've got to, you know, that's not ideal because other players will be playing. But like he's going to join a team. Like he's 25 years old or whatever he is. 25 years old. He's got a good pedigree. Like he's going to join a team as long as it's not Saudi Arabia. And yeah, I think he'll do well.
Interesting. Where did he learn his good pedigree from? Triple H or Seth Rollins?
That's a terrible joke.
Well, I liked your quote of every European player is a free agent technically in SO5 terms for the next 6 weeks. That's very deep.
It's true though, isn't it? It is literally true.
I just typed his name into Google and 3 stories linking him with Everton came up. So,
he has been linked with Everton quite a bit, but I don't think we're going to sign him.
Okay. All right, on to me, my 8th pick. This time I'm going for a feel-good story, and it is Ian Harkes, or Harksy, as he's affectionately known to with me. Ian plays for the New England Revolution now in the MLS. He went from Dundee last season. Dundee had an absolutely terrible season and got relegated, didn't they? So tough for him last year. So a bit of a wild card. He gets relegated with Dundee and ends up moving to New England in the MLS. But the feel-good story of this is in the footsteps of his dad, John Harkes, who also played in the MLS under Bruce Arenas, the same coach that Ian Harkes now plays under. He is an American, so it's a bit of a homecoming for him. He only costs 19 quid if you were to buy at the lowest price off the market now, or a quid for a yellow. He did show the ability to put up some half-decent greens for Dundee this season, while Dundee played like absolute pond life. So got a lot of game time in there. I'll be honest with you. Do I know if he's going to be a steadfast player for New England Revolution once he gets up to pace there? I do not. But based on the coach liking his dad, you know, I'm just going to go that he owes his dad some favours. Might drop him some WhatsApps and get his son in the squad as well. But really low price, 19 quid for someone. And the media seems to think, the news stories that I was researching earlier, that he is going to play a big part for New England. And he's already American. So, you know, the transition over there shouldn't be too bad to a different league this season. So, yeah, Ian Harkes, following in his father's footsteps at £19, going to play for the New England Revolution is my little bit of a random wild card throw in there for a bit of a feel-good story.
Before you leave the screen there, the figures underneath the yellow, red, and blue cards are underneath. That's the current lowest on sale, is it?
This one here is.
Okay. I was going to say, because 80 quid for a super rare, man. I'm surprised you haven't snapped that up yet.
Yeah, there's only 8 super rares. That one is not available. Yeah, the last one to go was 3 days ago. Went for 0.1, which is not
that's pretty cheap, isn't it? To be fair,
not a light amount of money for super rare Dundee player going to the MLS. So you think maybe DMold123 knows a little bit more than me and is banking on him to do well over there. His reds are all mainly trades. Yeah,
nice, mate.
Parks
Very nice. Okay, so moving swiftly on to my next pick, which is Aaron Martin. Sounds like he's from Scotland, but actually is Aaron Martin from Spain. He has joined a new club. He's joined Genoa, who, I don't know if you know them, but they have just got promoted to the top division in Italy.
Genoa.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Genoa have been very active in the transfer window in the last month. I think they've signed something like 7 or 8 players already, something stupid. Obviously trying to get their new squad together for now they've been promoted. So, you know, there is the ums and ahs of who's going to start, who's going to play, don't know. But he's a very good left back. He's been linked historically over the last few years, been linked with a lot bigger teams than Genoa. He's been linked to Premier League teams. I remember seeing one particular season he got linked to the standard link to West Ham, Everton, and Leicester, which everyone gets linked to. But no, he's a good player. He's got a lot of green scores. He's a left back, attacking left back. Quite peaky. He ended the season awfully last year, but I think that was mainly due to the fact that he was running his contract down and they were basically not playing him. So yeah, I think he's really good value at £35 at the moment. £2 for a limited. Once again, due to that end of the last season where his scores were really low, like his cap is going to be really low for cap 240 rare for a while, which is quite good. Yeah, I think he's going to start for Genoa. You'd like to think a good player like that who's signed a pretty long contract is going to start. So yeah, I think he's good value. Get him in.
All right, nice one. I've got 2 left, and I realised at this point of creating my shortlist that we had a strong dearth of forwards in my list. In fact, how many forwards have we named so far? I had one player that has a forward card, but apart from that, we're pretty light. So my next pick is going to be sticking a forward on the board, and I'm going to go for Ashley Barnes. Ashley Barnes has gone from Burnley, who got promoted to the Premiership last year, to Norwich. Second half of the season was pretty good from Ashley Barnes. He's got Premiership experience, Championship experience. You know, he's been around the block. I've seen him play at Plymouth. He obviously scared of Bristol City. He's only got 4 minutes as a sub against us last year and DMP'd in the first game against us. So he obviously doesn't want none of the smoke from the Ashton Gate Massive. But stays in the Championship, doesn't follow his team to Premiership, and is likely that Pookie-style successor, you know, that solid, experienced, grizzled striker. You know, you can see him in that Pookie role, can't you, playing up front for...
He's an absolute shithouse as well, Ashley Barnes.
Yeah, proper shithouse.
Absolute shithouse, yeah.
You wouldn't want to play against him. Ex-Bolton Rovers lad, actually. Started back at Bolton Rovers. Just like me, on the same hallowed turf that I used to knock around on. You can see how differently our lives have parted. You know, I think Championship's probably his level now as he's getting on, 33. Questions will be, you know, Norwich didn't have the best season last year and sort of went slightly backwards. Will they regress or will they kick back on towards the top of the league? It's tough to know. But yeah, you got that lot of game utility from the Championship. And he does have experience in there. 19 quid was his last sale at Rare. 2 quid for a limited. You know, very reasonable price for an experienced striker with a lot of utility this year. So I'm going to stick a striker on the board, and it's going to be Ashley Barnes now at Norwich.
Nice, mate. Solid. I like it. Okay, whilst we're talking strikers, then I'll go on to my striker. So, yeah, like you said, strikers were quite tricky to try and find under the cap. If you exclude goalkeepers, strikers are definitely the most valuable commodity in Sorare. So it is hard. But yeah, I've gone for Reece Healy. A few people may know him. He played for Cardiff, I think. Kind of looks like a poor man's Jamie Vardy in that photo. But he'd probably take that. So he's played for a lot of teams in England, but sort of shot to fame a little bit playing for Toulouse. He was flying in the second league in France before they got promoted. You look at his scores historically, if this will load. He's a very good scorer. This can go back even further, and he's a very good scorer too. Unfortunately, he had a major injury last season, so he missed the entirety of last season in the top division with a ACL, tore his ACL, which is always a scary thing to have to happen to one of your players that you've invested in. So bear that in mind when you're trying to purchase him. But he's joined Watford. Obviously, you've got that sweet championship utility that we've mentioned before. 46 games. Watford, you'd like to think, will be one of the better teams in the championship next year. I mean, they seem to change the managers every game, so I'm not quite sure how they're going to go next year. But yeah, he played one game last season for Toulouse, last game of the season, and he came on and scored. So, what more can you say about that? He's a good player. I think he'll go well at Watford, and you'll get plenty of utility out of him. So at, what was his price? 30 quid. Once again, you're looking at these sort of difference between limited and rare prices here. Like, isn't it usually around 8 to 10 times limited to rare? That's what I tend to find anyway. So, £5 for his limited card and £30 for his rare strikes me that his rare is undervalued at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like there's only 18 of those rares, probably what is causing the issue there, isn't it?
I think the Watford purchase has obviously meant that his price is going to be higher now. So it may be a little bit of a cheat to include him in the less than 50 quid. But yeah, you could get on Discord, work your charm, and you might be able to get one for sort of 50 to 60 quid, I reckon, if you're lucky. But yeah, it's a solid player and could have a bounce back season for Watford, I reckon.
Yeah, interesting pick. Not my favourite type of Healy, though. I do like the trainers with the wheels in the back, which you can use to scoot around car parks and things.
Yeah,
but yeah,
really, really good segue there, mate. I like that.
All right, this is my last one. This is my number 10. Technically is a summer transfer, but he's already at and playing for his club. And the difference here is that you can pick him up right now and start using him because he is playing in the MLS. I have added another striker on.
You need to share screen.
I am talking about Christian Dejame. Dejame. I apologize if I'm butchering your name, Christian. I do it to pretty much everyone, so don't take offense. He is now playing for United and Everton legend Wayne Rooney at DC United in the MLS. And I've had an eye on him for a while. I was looking at his super rare for a while as I tried to get an extra MLS forward. He didn't quite hit the ground running when he went there, but he has now started 3 of the last 4. Got a goal, and there is some fixture congestion coming up in the MLS, isn't there, with these lots of midweeks in before they have a break for that Continental Cup. So he's come over from Vancouver to DC. He has been there a few weeks now. Yeah, forward cards are generally more expensive, which is why I quite like the look of a price around the mid £30 and a couple of quid for a yellow. Wayne, we're on first name terms, seems to like him. And he's started to gradually cement that place in the starting squad. They also have a few other attacking options, but he can move out onto that wing, which, gives him that extra chance to get in the squad. If he's not going to play as a central striker, he can play as like a right attacking midfielder, a right forward. And what I particularly like about him at this price is his caps are really low from the end of his time at Vancouver and starting off on the bench when he first got to DC and had to hit the ground running. So, yeah, you're looking at a very low cap for a striker in a new team who just seems to be cementing his place. If you're looking to pick someone up on the cheap with a low cap, which you can lock in straight away with potential strong upside, seems great for an immediate cap 240 team, cap 220 team. So, yeah, my last pick is Christian De Jome over at DC United.
Nice. Someone I actually was following quite a bit last season. He was on my follow list for a while. Never really took off, did he? Hence why his scores are quite low on his caps.
Yeah,
there. But I think he is a good player. Like maybe we're missing something. I
you can see, his minutes are trending up, and then he's ended up with 3 starts and a lot of fixture congestion coming up. Yeah, I think he's a very cheap, solid option for the rest. Nice. Well, specifically for the next 6 weeks till Europe comes back. So yeah, De Jome. You got anyone left?
I have one left.
All right. Talk to me.
I would say it's going out with a bang, but I actually only heard of him about an hour and a half ago when I found out about him. So I don't know a huge amount about him, but I do know that he has left Paderborn and joined Hoffenheim. So he's made that step up from the second league, Bundesliga 2 to top league.
Interestingly enough, mate, I've actually met him before. I needed to go somewhere and asked if I could, if he had a bike I could borrow, and he said no, just van.
Yeah, I was about to make a very similar joke, so you've just ruined my joke there. So, but I'll let you have it. That's fine. I actually really like how you've come over to the dad joke side of life. Yeah. It's a much funner life, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, give me a couple of drinks, and this is what I call entertainment. Sorry for everyone still watching.
Well, that's good. You've taken up some time that I don't have to fill with waffling about Just Fan now, so that's fine. Yeah, he's a good creative player by the looks of him. I think he was one of Paderborn's better players last season. From our views of the players we've been suggesting tonight, we haven't seen too much of this amount of green. So I think he's clearly a good player. Don't know how he's going to make that step up into Hoffenheim. I think Hoffenheim, will probably be around a mid-table team in Germany next year. You'd like to think they're not going to struggle too much with relegation and probably not really push the high echelons of the league. So, yeah, you think he's probably going to play. They've purchased him. They've spent money on him. So you'd like to think they've got a plan for him. He's got a weird little goatee as well, which is kind of always a good thing. We like to sort of acknowledge the goatees on this channel.
Yeah, we do. That's fair.
We do. But yeah, solid scorer, solid last 5, last 15, last 40. Shows that he has got that consistency. I do bang on about peaky players, but sometimes it is quite nice to just have a solid player that gets you that sort of 50 to 55. That if all your players got that in your cap team, you'd make money every week. So yeah, I think less than 50 quid. You're looking at around 45 to 48 pounds at the moment for him. It's good value. So there we go.
All right. And we close it out with Julian Just Van. So yeah, there you go. I think that's 21 players. 21 players. What? 21 players. Yeah. Content's going downhill quickly. So they're all here. If you want to go back and check any of them out, they're on a public watch list called £50 or less summer transfers. So thank you very much for sticking with us. If you have through all of that, you're a better man than me. What do we have left? We have some
we did think that tonight would be a slightly shorter episode, didn't we? But how wrong we were, because we still got spinny wheels and beat the boys to go, and we're now 15 in.
Yeah, we did make contingency plans for what we talk about if it was too short. But yeah, we're still going strong, an hour and 15 minutes in. So let's nail off the last things we need to do and then let these fine people get away from us. So Beat the Boys is our private league, 1 month, 1 season. The last season just ended, and we have a winner, didn't we? And it was, where is...
It was Mapey Ball.
Mapey Ball. Let's get the league up. There you are. You won with 1848. Bad Boy Chiller Crew.
We mentioned him briefly on Tuesday, didn't we? How he was a member of the Bad Boy Chiller Crew. But pretty sure he was leading the whole time, pretty much, wasn't he?
He was up there. It was a strong season for him. So you won a rare card. Johnny, you have the wheel ready and you're going to pick him a prize, right?
I do indeed. So that's not the right spinning wheel. So this wheel here is your 4 rare cards. So you've got an Adam Smith from Bournemouth. You've got an Eric Miller, who plays for Portland. Johnny Dos Santos, who plays for CF America in Mexico, I think. And Daiki Kaneko, who plays for a team in Japan that wears purple. So is it Kyoga Sonogo or something like that? I don't know what the name is. But anyway, let's see who you've won.
Can you make the wheel bigger?
Oh, for God's sake. Too late.
Time, mate.
Sorry, mate.
Absolute basic.
Smithy boy.
Adam Smith from Bournemouth.
Probably the only player that he's heard of from that list.
Yeah. So I'll send a tweet out about it and I'll just send him to you tomorrow. You're the monthly winner. I'm just going to send it to you because we had a couple of unclaimed prizes that we're still chasing up this month. So if you think you might have won something this month, check our Twitter. You might have a couple of prizes left. But Adam Smith, I'll just send you tomorrow and tweet it out. Congratulations, Mappy Bull. Well done on being the 4th winner of Beat the Boys, which segues nicely into this Friday, probably the day you're watching this, tomorrow for us, when Season 5 will commence. Season 5 will be MLS Amateur again. The link is on our Twitter. Our Twitter is at the top of the screen when we hide this, or in the description, SR_Thursday Club. Here's the code, ZAKTEW, if you want to do it that way. I will add Mappy Ball to the season Hall of Fame. And it's a short-ish one, isn't it? Because it's like 3 weekend game weeks, 2 midweek game weeks. It's really condensed because the last couple of weeks, the MLS in that Continental All-America Cup thing. So yeah, there's 5 game weeks. So it's a nice short one. Fly through it. There'll be, I think this time we're going to do a top 3 winners. So the winner will win a rare, 2nd and 3rd will win a limited, and there might be a bonus prize for top score or something like that. Yeah. But we will tweet out a graphic with all the prizes on by tomorrow. We're just finalizing those once we finish doing this tonight. But get involved. Join in, MLS Amateur, Beat the Boys, Season 5. Get your name on the Hall of Fame to join Mappy Ball, Hamadism, Tornado, Nishan Cop 92. So yeah, get involved.
One thing I would say is, because it's a condensed 5 weeks in 3 weekends and 2 midweeks, there's going to be a lot of rotation. So I think it's going to be all to play for in our leagues. There's going to be a lot of bloody annoying DNPs in midweek. I can guarantee that.
Yeah. I think it'll take some skill, take some skill, a bit of luck, I look forward to it. Making sure Swiss Mappy stays in 3rd place out of us 3. But yeah, that is it. We've been going for 1 hour and 18 minutes, which is quite enough, I believe. Thank you very much, Tornado, for all your lovely, helpful, intelligent insight. I like your new haircut as well. Thanks for everyone who has joined. We got something else to do.
We have one more thing before we go quickly. It is the FC Sorare giveaway. These are the 3 people, I believe, that guessed that Mr. Sorare Mamba, i.e. you, were going to be the top scorer on Tuesday. And like you said, you made 147 saves. We happen to annoyingly play a team of much younger, fitter players that are wearing tracksuits and looking like the real deal, whereas we're all dressed in Mexico kit, flipping all over the place with our fat asses running around. So we made it respectable, didn't we? We lost 7-4, I think, but it could have been a lot more if it wasn't for you, Rick. So I'd like to dedicate this wheel to you, Ricky.
Thanks.
I'm even going to make it bigger because...
Well done, mate. That means a lot.
So
well done,
here's the 3 people that can win Jesse's card that I have instantly forgotten the name of. So Andreas, Velt something binary, and Milano Sondreo. Let's see who wins. Milan. I think he's won something before, I recognize his name. There we go.
Really? I was quickly trying to find out who they've won. Milan o Sondrio. Sorare Thursday Club. You have won. Cesar Araujo.
There we go.
You can tell we've been on for a long time. It's getting tough now, isn't it? All right, congratulations. You've won a card. Swiss Mafia will send it to you in the next day or two. Congratulations. Well done. That's what you get for picking me. I appreciate you. That is now actually it. Congratulations, Johnny, on lasting an hour and 20 minutes. Appreciate your input. Could everyone like and subscribe? It makes us feel all warm and fuzzy. We will catch you again on Tuesday. Join the Beat the Boys League. Details below in the description if you need it. Have a fantastic game week over this weekend. May the So Rare gods be with you. We are out. Viva la Thursday Club.
Up the toffees.